Okay, so it's been about a year and a half now, just about, I think. And what happened with this tutorial is that at some point my computer actually broke down and it wouldn't start up. And, you know, after that I also lost the hard drive with backup files on it. So I had a really bad year, and I tried to do a bunch of stuff, including I tried to Kickstarter my game project, but no one was interested, so that took me a long while to even get back into game development. So, because I had to raise the money to get all the equipment to do it. So now, where I am since then, since I realized that no one would really support a project with low poly characters, the characters in this project, this is the one we're modeling right now. I eventually evolved it to be more at a better quality level. So this is what I'm doing with my characters right now, and I'm also working on another side project for the Oculus Rift. It looks like this. This is just one of the rooms in it, and these are the type of characters I'm doing. And that's sort of just what I've been up to since then. But I've always gotten requests to redo this tutorial, or to at least finish the tutorial. And just recently someone messaged me, and they actually sent me this model because I don't have a copy of it. So I'm going to continue from where they left off. I went ahead and just made sure it's up to date to my own tutorials. I had to actually sit there and go through my tutorials, so I had the same model to work from. And just from there, I'm going to be able to finish this tutorial. I've learned a lot of tricks since then too, so you're going to benefit from this too if you're just catching up on my tutorials right now. There are some things I would have done differently. For example, even though we're working on low poly models and we're just trying to save these polygons, this model is still pretty high for something that's low poly, but in terms of new games coming out, it is actually low. I would consider it low poly. What I would do is I would change the kneecap here. I would probably add some geometry either in the front or in the back to let it bend better, because I already know that when I start rigging this, that part of the knee is going to give me trouble. But we're going to be able to fix that later as well. So from now on, I'm just going to continue where we left off, because you guys want to finish this arm, and you want to finish the head, and you want to texture it and all that stuff. So we're going to do that right now. So get ready. So before we start, I want to mention that these reference images, they don't have top-down pictures for the hands, and that's actually really important. So unfortunately, we're going to have to be winging it a little bit, but hopefully you would have top-down pictures for the hands, and then you can just substitute the image in and work from the top and the front. But in this case, we didn't do that. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I probably do have pictures with top-down hands in the same proportions. If for some reason you need it, you can just contact me on my YouTube page. But for now, I'm just gonna go forward and wing it. Since this character is my drawing and my creation, I already know how his hand's gonna look like. I don't need a reference. But I just wanted to mention that before we started now. Since we're working in low poly, I'm not going to make 5 fingers for this character. I'm going to make a thumb, I'm going to make some mitten hands for the fingers. Because we're working in low poly, we can just draw the fingers in. And in this case, we're never going to need to point or use a pinky, for the low poly character at least. For a higher poly character, that is what I did. I put 4 fingers in, but basically only the pointing finger and the other 3 fingers are boned as one bone. So, first things first, I'm going to double click on this to select this border edge, and from here I'm just going to extrude it out just a little bit around there. Then I'm going to go to face mode, so just right click, face mode, shift and click all of these. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to mesh and extract. And what this does is it separates this body from this body. If I mentioned that in the earlier tutorials, it's been a long time, so I don't remember. But anyways, if you click over here and go to your perspective outliner, what an outliner shows is it shows all the objects in your scene. So as you can see, this comprises all of our mesh. And right now, it's kind of all grouped and named funny. It's in the past year I've been working on. I actually work really cleanly now, so I'm just gonna go on and fix this right now. So I'm gonna select all these meshes, I'm going to go Edit, Delete All by Type, and go Delete History. So that simplifies it. So now it just shows that we have a polysurface group, and this is the symbol for a group, and these are the two meshes in that group. So the two, since we just extracted it, and it separated the two meshes into two meshes right here and right here, it put them in a group automatically, and it just does that to organize things. It is a good idea to keep them grouped, but while we're working on them, it's not a good idea right now. So I'm just going to go to select the master group and go Edit, Ungroup. If you've done all this, you delete all history and you ungrouped and everything, and you still have stuff that's not supposed to be there, like you might have transforms and all that. You can just delete all history, follow what we did before. But if you still have those, just select them in the outliner and just press delete, and that'll get rid of them. And then you just work with what we have. This is all we should have here, and you might have a whole bunch of other junk as well. Okay, so go back to your 4-up view, and now this body piece, we don't want to work on it right now. So I'm going to go to Channel Box and Layer Editor, and I'm going to put it in a layer. And the layer is using layers to work is really helpful, because you go to Layer, you go Create Empty Layer, and it's going to create this. Right? I just double click it like there. Select the color. It doesn't matter. And just call it Body. And working with layers is really helpful, because when you select the body, for example, and then you right click here, and you go Add Selected Objects. Now that is this object is a part of this layer. So when I press V, it just goes View or Don't View, right? And also over here, you can change it to R, which just makes it a reference, and that pretty much locks it. So I can't even select it now. All I can select is my arm. So this is really helpful, because if you're moving stuff and you don't want to mess around with something you've worked on, but you still want to have it in view, you can just do this. And obviously, if you just want the wireframe from it, just change it to a T, right? But let's just change it to R. When you want to unlock it, just press it again, and when this is blank, then you can work on it again. Or you can just still hide it, but leave it, I just prefer to keep it as a reference and just keep it in view. So select this, press F to zoom in on it, and over here, I'm gonna go wireframe unshaded, change it, make sure it's X-ray, and then apply current to all. So now all my views should have wireframe unshaded with X-ray, except for my perspective. I'm gonna change that to that, and the wireframe I'll just keep it on just for now. But anyways, I select this arm, and right now we just created this arm, this part of the arm, and what I'm doing is I'm just creating a little bit of an armpit, kind of. So I'm going to select this and this, and I'm just pulling it in a bit to make it more round, so that when we continue the arm, it's just going to be closer to the shape of a circle, like a tube. And I'll make sure to align these other vertices. You can see you go through the back and the front. I want to create a kind of round shape here. I'm going to select these two because they're opposite of each other. As you can see in this perspective, they're way off in terms of the actual perspective views, non-perspective view, the orthographic views. I moved it down a bit because there's a line here, and I want to honor that, keep the flow. So I want to keep it similar. I don't want it to go down and then this one go up. So let me just adjust this a bit. And at the same time, we're keeping it around the midpoint between these 2 points here. So I'm just adjusting it a little bit because I don't want to spend too much time on that. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's lined up here. This one, it sticks out a bit. I'm gonna pull it in. You can look at the bottom of the image here. I'm gonna pull it in a bit. I'm ignoring this shirt, by the way. Actually, I'm gonna select a different color here. I'm gonna change it to blue for this because sometimes it's kind of hard to see. So it should, I don't know why it's not showing up blue. Normally the outlines are supposed to show up on the colors that you have selected here. Oh, that's probably why. I have it locked. Anyways. So I select this, make sure it's lined up decently. I'm gonna move this a bit because I wanted to have a smooth contour for the ring of the arm. So I'm just moving those a bit, and that's gonna make it a little bit more smooth. And from there we can continue. Now, one of the reasons I made this is because when you're bending the arm, you need some extra. You need some. It's sort of a V shape, with the bottom of the V here, and then one arm here and one arm here. And you need that for the shoulder when you're bending it up and down. And of course, if you look at your actual arm, you can't really bend it higher than slightly above 90 degrees, unless you twist your arm, and then you can put it over your head. But we're just gonna assume he's not gonna twist his arm, and we're just worrying about this length. If he is gonna twist his arm, then we're gonna let the bones do the rest. So I'm gonna select this edge, edit mesh, extrude, W, because you have to press W, and I'm just gonna move it out here. And what I'm doing is, this is the part of the arm that comes out, and then the bicep starts around here, and this whole section here is the bicep. So I'm gonna end this here, and the top, I'm press R, scale it up a bit, and I'm just trying to make the first part of the arm before the biceps. So I'm rotating it a bit too. Press E and rotate it, and we're just trying to create this, and then it goes bump. The same here, it's bump, and then bump for the bicep area. Then this whole circle, and if there was an invisible circle here, it would be the biceps. And just make sure everything's lined up in the back as well. Normally, I would like to have a reference image for the top, or the side of the arm, because technically it would be the side of the arm, and I would do it from a top image, because you really do, if you're not that good at anatomy, then it's kind of hard to guess where it is. So I'm just squeeze this in a bit, because it's going to be bump, bump, And from there, edit mesh, extrude, pull it out, and this is going to be the widest part of the biceps. So from the top here, you can see that we're going to make it stick out a bit. It's the widest part of the biceps. You don't do it. This guy's not that muscular, so it doesn't need to be that big. When we're working in low poly, we can put in more muscles or less muscles when we do texturing. So I just extrude it again, press W, moving it out, and just meeting this part. Now this is the bottom of the biceps, and this part you got to be careful of, because around this part you have the elbow on the back side, but on the front you have the pit. So yeah, you gotta take that in consideration. What I do is just select the vertex on the front, because this is where the elbow pit is going to be, and I'm just moving it down a bit, and then pushing it in because it is the pit. And then for the back, I'm just gonna line it up a bit and just move it out. So this is the back part. It's going to meet the elbow, and then just see how this vertex dips in a bit. Just make it a smooth ring if you can. So I'm just smoothing out the ring a bit. The bottom needs a little bit more here. And there we got. Okay, so now we got the upper shoulder, we got the biceps, and now this is a tricky part. It's the elbow area. This drawing isn't very good. I apologize. That's my fault. But this part should actually be a lot smaller, probably half its width from here to here. It's a little section around muscular people. Just a little bump. It shouldn't be that big, but I guess it was exaggerated in the drawings, in the old drawings. But I'll just select this edge here, and we'll just try to right now we'll just jump the gap, and we'll come back and fix the elbow after we finish the lower arm. So I'm gonna extrude, press W, start the lower arm around here. I'm gonna press R, scale it down, and I'm just looking at this curve here, and it's gonna go around here, and this one goes around here. So if you're looking at the natural progression of, oops, sorry, I'm trying to pan. So if you look at the natural progression of the curve here, it meets it here, and this one comes over, then meets it around here. So now we're starting the lower arm, and I'm skipping the elbow, but I'm going to come back to the elbow because I need to make it a bendable joint. I'm going to extrude again, press W. I'm going to go to the widest part of the lower arm, the forearm, and we're just going to create it. It's going to be a little bit fatter on the top. It seems fine from here. Working in low poly, it seems fine. We might rotate it a little bit. And same thing with this one. We didn't really look at it from the top. I'm just going to rotate it to be kind of perpendicular. For example, if I press top here and line it up, you can see that now I'm trying to make it a straight line like this. So this is our lower arm. Double click here, or however you want to select it. Edit mesh, extrude. Also, if you were working in Maya 2011, I apologize. I'm now working in Maya 2013. Press W, pull it out. And there are some differences between 2011 and 2013. Some things I like better, like the way the interactive split tool works. I'm not sure if I've ever used that in these tutorials, but they've been pretty helpful. So now we've got the arm, and we're going to move on to the hands. I'm going to create mitten style hands, and I'm going to do that up ahead, but first I'm going to go back and fix the elbow, because right now we don't have an elbow. We have a lower arm, we have the bicep, and we have this weird patch here, and this weird patch is actually going to become the elbow. So first thing first, I'm going to go with faces. I'm going to select all that. Make sure you got it all the way around, as you can see. I have it here. So we're going to split this, and there's 3 ways to do it. You can use the interactive split tool, insert edge loop tool, or you can add divisions. Add divisions is hit or miss, but I'm just going to add divisions. It's easier. So if I go 1 and 3, sometimes you have to reverse the number, but this time it worked. So you see it divided into 3, and we're actually using more polygons, even though you probably want to work in low poly, but to make the elbow work, I prefer to have more polygons. So I'm going to pull this out for the elbow first of all. Oh, sorry. Select this bottom part too. The elbow is attached to the lower arm. So remember that. So that when this elbow cap moves, I'm going to select that vertex and move it out, just to create more of a bump for the elbow. This one, I'm going to move it in a bit more. And now from the front, I'm going to go face again, select this, I'm going to scale it. Press R, scale in X, because you got to make it a little thinner first, because we're creating the little bit of elbow pit. And then you press W, move it in the Z axis, move it in a bit, and then go to vertexes and move this one in even more. And this one, yeah, move it slightly more as well. Now, for these vertices on these sides, I'm shift clicking them. Make sure you're in vertex mode, shift click them. I'm gonna tighten them in a bit. This will help with our elbow section. So now, for example, I'm gonna press 3, and what it does is it smooths the polygons. It shows how it looks like. See, you can see you can definitely tell that's where it's supposed to bend, and this is the elbow pit, and this is the elbow. But anyways, you press 1 again to go back to normal mode. So now we got the elbow. We didn't use that many polygons, but if I was doing it using a little bit more information, I might have done this. You don't have to do this part, just watch. Go to interactive split tool, Well, select this first. Edit mesh, interactive split tool. Now, in Maya 2013, the interactive split tool snaps to midpoints, whereas in earlier versions, it doesn't automatically do that. Honestly, I wouldn't know how to change it because I didn't notice it until 2013. But this is really helpful because what you can do is you can create an elbow patch. Then you can select this. You don't have to do this part. I'm just doing it. You won't have to do it for low poly, not really. But, you know, it will create more of an elbow patch. And what this will do is it'll help when you're bending the elbow because it has more polygons to move, and also it'll look more natural because you'll be able to influence some of these polygons to move with the lower forearm, and then influence a little bit of these ones to move with this one. And I'll create the illusion of skin moving when you're rigging the elbow. So I'm just going to leave this like that. You didn't have to do this part, I'm just doing it. But if you wanted to, that's how you do it. There are bigger ones, like ones with 9. Well, this is 9, but there's one with another layer of circle around it. But I can't remember how to do that right now. And working on low poly anyways. So, we've got the arm now. And now for the hand, this picture is really weird because people don't always hold their hands like that. You might want it to be sticking out more. For example, the thumb should actually be relaxed and coming out here. And that's probably a better idea for your reference images, for future reference. No pun intended. We're going to create a thumb. I'll create one finger, and then the rest of the 3 fingers I'll turn into mitten hands. And I think that would be better, because you might want to make your low poly character point. But typically, I won't even make any fingers. I'll just make one big mitten with a thumb, for low poly characters at least, because they're low poly characters. They don't need that much detail. They're not going to be animated as much as higher poly characters. Oh yeah, so instead of okay, I'm just going to move the hand tutorial into another video, and we're just going to go back and fix something I forgot to fix. If this is only if you've followed this elbow patch part. If you didn't do this, you just skipped it, then, you know, don't worry about it. Just go on to the next video. I'm going to put the hand modeling video in the next one. But for this one, because I split the polygons, I created a problem. And there's 2 problems. One is I created triangles, and triangles are something that we should always avoid if we can, because it makes it difficult for other programs, and maybe even the game engine, to calculate it properly, because people say that, you know, it doesn't matter if you use triangles in models because the game always uses triangles anyways, and that's true. I've even seen actual video game models, like, you know, Final Fantasy characters, and they have triangles everywhere, especially the low poly ones. But when we're working with it, we want to make sure that it's always quads. And in addition to just triangles, we created 5-sided shapes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so there's a simple way to fix this, because these are connected. And so all I have to do is just go interactive split tool, make sure it snaps. If yours doesn't snap, then that's a problem. You might be able to change these options, and then you could snap it. It's probably this one, snap to points. I'm not sure for this tool in the older versions of Maya, but for Maya 2013 it automatically snaps to midpoints and vertices anyways, and midpoints between vertices and vertices. So I'm just going to go to this corner and just put it to this triangle. You're basically turning the triangle into a quad every time you cut it. So interactive split tool, add a 4th vertice to this triangle, and then cut the 5-sided polygon. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've turned our 5 shapes and triangles into 3 quads. And the same thing down here. We have 1 triangle and a 5-sided polygon, and we're going to turn it into. We're going to use interactive split tool and just split this, and now we have 3 quads instead. And edit mesh, interactive split tool. Oh, for some reason that didn't work. Let's try it again. Sometimes you'll find that doesn't. See, sometimes it doesn't work properly. So let's just check the vertice and make sure everything's okay. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Interactive split tool, this vertice, cut the triangle. Nope, it's not working. So the one reason is because we've done so many operations on this arm that you can see here from all these inputs. This is the history of the object. So one thing we have to do is just delete all by type history, and what this does is it just makes the object final. So it's not calculating all this other stuff along the way. And then try it again, and hopefully it works this time. Nope. Edit mesh, interact to split tool. There it goes. So now it worked. And now we've got an arm that has proper quads all over it. So that's the end of the arm tutorial. I'm going to move on to the hand one next. I put in another video because I don't like videos to be longer than 20-30 minutes.